So refreshing. Eternal water. What are we all drinking?
Oh, I'm having a Coke Zero on ice.
Ooh, love that. Love that.
And just some good old H2O.
Oh,
Nice. Ooh,
love a
Stanley
double
Cup.
fisting.
I'm having a nice cup of PG Tips with a little bit of milk and honey. It's something from the Queens County, imported before the tariffs, so it was cheaper than it probably will be now. It's just like a really good, like, classic black tea.
My relationship with tea is so fraught because I enjoy it. Like
Literally
I
always waiting for
I
me to be
like a cup of tea.
I'm gonna push back on that. I'm gonna push back.
No.
on black tea.
It doesn't hit the way coffee does for me. I'm just a little American in that. You know what I mean? It
She's
feels
a crackhead.
Yeah, truly, yes. Prescriptions only. It's just almost like I want to enjoy tea at home. Like tea on the go or tea like out in the streets seems not the way. It doesn't seem right.
You're right. It is not an on-the-go kind of drink. It's like, yes, a beverage, and then the lips would purse front like show. Yeah, but you know, when you're like on your way to somewhere and you're like, well, I'm going to sit and I'm going to be in rehearsal, getting the tea is good because then by the time you get there, it's steeped enough. But then maybe if it's more than 5 minutes, then you have to take the tea out. And then you're like on the train and you're like, okay, well, so now I have to take the tea because you don't want it to get too bitter. And then you're standing on the train, you're like, but where do I throw it? So now you're waiting even longer because now it's just in your hand, but you want it in your hand and your napkin. But then you'll keep it in the cup for longer. And now it's for sure steeped past 5 minutes and it's for sure bitter. And so then you probably just would have been better with
Coffee.
yeah.
Hi, milkers. Welcome back to Tres Leches, the podcast where three Latina friends tell stories, unpack identity, and get real about everything from pop culture to politics.
It's sweet, it's a little messy, and always drenched in milk.
3 kinds of milk, in fact.
And the best part is, you can enjoy our milk even if you're lactose intolerant.
Rate, like, subscribe, and share with someone who gets it. Or needs to.
Yeah, I would say I'm in my prime right now, for sure.
You would say you are?
I am in my prime right now. Of just like, yeah, like I feel like I am in the, like, I'm in the best shape I've ever been. I like look the best I've ever looked and I feel the best I've ever felt. And I just think it's all downhill from here.
Or up, apparently.
Yeah, no, I honestly, like, not to toot, but like toot here. Like, I'm just, I don't know. I'm just like sick of pretending like, it's just like, I just understand. I just kind of get like what I'm serving and
I love how she stopped to edit. Just say it.
I understand what happens when I walk into a room, baby. Do you know what I mean?
Word.
Okay,
And
of
like,
course.
and
What does happen?
Yeah.
It's, well, if we're going like the religious route, it's giving like Moses parting of the Red Sea. But then if we're going like, if we're doing a Disney vibe, it's giving like Belle of the Ball. She's coming down from the stairs in the gold dress. And everyone's like, who is it? We could also do the Cinderella one when she comes in with the blue dress. Correct. But I wouldn't have gotten rid of Gaston. You know what I mean? I probably would have been like,
Right.
You can
yeah,
stay.
no.
She would have stayed a local favorite.
Yeah,
Correct.
for sure. I would have been in a throuple with Gaston and Prince Beast. But you know what I mean? It's like, I'm feeling good in the neighborhood, and I've just started rehearsals for a new play it's called Tafana, TFNA, Theater for New Audiences in Brooklyn. And it's a play called Prosperous Fools, and it's written by Taylor Mack, who is a
The
genius.
iconic Taylor Mack.
The iconic Taylor Mack. Rehearsal has been really fun, and I'm dancing again, which is really nice. But it has been nice to be like, oh yeah, I'm a different person when I'm working, because you're just like, it's your brain is, this is what I'm working on at the end of the day. You really don't have like an energetic, like, you're kind of tired. You're just tired. And so you're like, okay, I need to sleep.
Juan's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it's my favorite quote about the musical theater of all. And it's been on my mind a lot lately. It's Tommy Tune, and he was on the B-Way, like History of Broadway documentary for PBS many years ago. And he said, contrary to popular belief, the musical theater is not for sissies. And I'm obsessed with that because it is so true.
Yeah.
It is the musical theater in general, just theater, is not for sissies, even though there are more faggots within the theater than anywhere else on earth. And yet it's really, really a tough thing to do. And you have to have a mental readiness on top of the physical readiness too. It's like any high stakes job, but there's something about rehearsal and the way you have to show up for a rehearsal that is it's special. It's some people love to rehearse, some people hate rehearsing, some people like performing more, or some people love rehearsing more. And I always found that really interesting, what it says about a performer, about an actor, whether they like performance or rehearsal. But regardless, whether you prefer one or the other, you cannot get to perform without rehearsal. So it's this strange boot camp mentality, and you have to just be so ready, and you have no idea what's coming at you. No other time in the world you need more mental nimbleness than that, like when you're learning.
And I will say I clocked that too. I was like, how am I feeling about rehearsal right now? And I'm noticing the only time I'm like a little stressed about rehearsal is just when I don't know what's going to possibly happen. It's what is it going to be? Am I going to be moving a crazy set piece? Like, whatever. Like, I hope I don't, like, it's your brain trying to protect you from the unknown. But then once you learn it, my favorite time of rehearsal is when you start running it, because then you get a feel for the show, and, the cardio is coming. Like the running of it is where time passes a lot faster, and you really do kind of center on those beats. And you learn what the show is going to be, and those are my favorite. Those are my favorite moments, because there's really no mistake to be made except for we're all learning. So, and Darko, who's our director, is just really good about, like, if something happened that wasn't, like, if a cue was missed or blah blah blah. Like, everyone is so just really good at collaborating. You can tell they've all worked with him before, and there's this immense amount of, like, excitement and trust, and to be around that, like, it's like day one, they're your family. That's kind of what happens when you start doing a show again. You're like, oh my God, like, we're all acting like we've known each other, and there's a shorthand now, and we literally just met yesterday, I love that. That feels really fun. Sierra Boggess is in it. Love her.
Which is just outrageous. She's someone who she's just so talented. And Sierra Boggess is someone who just has surprised me throughout her career at how
hilarious,
how versatile she really is. Because when you make your splash as an ingenue, especially as an operatic ingenue, or and then like the ultimate ingenue as Ariel in Little Mermaid, to then see how funny she is and how playful she is and how willing she is to take risks on new shows and do fun things. Just the best.
But anyway, how are you guys doing? What's new with you two?
Johnny, me first.
Did you say go first, or I'll go first?
I'll go first, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, you go first. You go first.
I am in an interesting place. Have you ever felt like a paper bag? No. Have you ever felt it's this strange thing where you feel like, my God, everything is going really well, and yet I am unwell. It's like that's what mental health can be sometimes, or a lack thereof, where your perception of your life is different from what's actually happening. I have a boyfriend who I adore, who I love so much and loves me, and yet I'm at this place with my life where I feel almost untethered. I'm just trying to get grounded into this is going to sound very generic, but but I'm trying to just get grounded in what my heart really desires for my next steps in my professional career. I'm like ready for a transition in my work life and everything else. So I think that this is the time, spring, and this has happened to me before. Like, I get this, we come out of winter, and then during the spring, there's this anxiety to be and grow and create, and that can be very oppressive to me. It's my ambition, really. So I think that's what I'm reckoning with at the moment. Does that make sense?
This is your next step.
Correct. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got to put your full pussy lips into it. You know, and if that means shaving off the muff and going hairless for a little bit,
That's
you
what
do
it
that.
means.
But you need to let those flaps fly, honey.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yes. And I think it's I was in the getting ready to record, and I thought how fun it is going to be to have this record of who I am today in this moment, because I've enjoyed looking back at old episodes. We talked about this before, where it's like it's a snapshot on who I was on at that. Not even sometimes it's just the day, but in that season.
Yeah.
So it is. We're living out loud. A new kind of LOL.
Love that.
Coming now to Target.
Yeah, exactly.
Live out loud with Target. They won't
not
say
right now.
pride. They'll say live out loud.
Exactly.
Yeah, they will.
I'm doing well. I've just been on many a sojourn.
Oh my God, yes.
I just got back from Puerto Vallarta at the
Wait,
opening of
yes.
the Tryst Hotel.
Yes, I
That
want to
feels
know.
like it was a long time ago, but it was just a moment ago.
Just
What a
At this time last week, I was on the beach sipping drinks with Shea Coulee and Violet Chachki and Got Mick and Kyle Krieger and all the girls just having a gay old time.
I mean,
you have fun?
everybody.
Yeah.
Girl, it was, well, I've never been to PV before, and it was
Yeah,
the
same.
perfect way to intro. The hotel was gorgeous. It's funny, gays are often pegged with being luxurious, yet we don't have a lot of specifically queer luxurious spaces.
Correct.
We create luxury in a lot of straight spaces. If you go to like Soho House, or the girls pulling the strings behind the screen, and the curtain are usually the dolls, the girls. So it was really nice to see a gay luxury resort, bias for us kind of situation, and then just to see the kind of people that Tristan, who's the owner of Tryst Hotels, and Mr. the prep organization,
And now the
brought-
Abbey.
yeah, and the Abbey,
Save my ass for sure.
who they brought to Mexico to celebrate this opening. What was so lovely about it is that, sometimes when you have like celebrities or queer celebrities, sometimes it feels like there's like a hierarchy going on, but it didn't feel that way at all. It felt like everyone came to play, have a good time, enjoy the Mexican
love.
sun. The boys, the staff were all gorgeous. The only thing that was like, oh, this is a queer resort, was that the bartenders were all shirtless. I was like, of course,
good.
of course, yes. Of course.
We've talked about this before, but at many queer destinations, you pay a lot of money,
Yeah.
but you don't necessarily get what you're paying for. You could be staying in Miami Beach, don't you wish there was a place that's like Trist, where it's like nice, actually nice, and worth the amount of money that you're paying. And a lot of these gay destinations, that doesn't exist.
Yeah. Like there's something like this had, like it hit many of my only critique is that I wanted a robe and some slippers in the room. That's it. But that's also a me thing. Like I need that in every hotel I stay in. But I also understand it's Mexico. It's hot. Like
Who needs a
the
robe?
floors
Yeah.
are concrete. They're it's all clay. It's all of
Okay.
the earth. So I
I
could totally
see.
see like, no, you don't need to be in a robe. You just be shirtless on the balcony, which
Yeah.
I did. Both Philip and I did. But it's funny because everyone's like, you can kind of see everything, but you can't see everything at the same time.
Oh, I
It's
like
very
that.
sexy in that way.
Well designed. And you hosted the red carpet.
I hosted the red carpet. My first
was
time ever
that?
hosting a red carpet.
Are you
Julia
nervous
Fox.
doing that?
I was nervous until I finished my first interview.
Okay. Who was your
And
first
then-
interviewee?
It's funny because my friend Philip was supposed to be my producer for the whole thing. And, my Emily, in a way that like, if I didn't know who someone was right away, and she got pulled in another direction. So I was left by myself with my cameraman, and honey, I let it rip. Even if I didn't know their name, I'm like, here we are. You look fabulous. Are you excited for the
Yes.
Tryst Hotel opening? It's just, that's the thing about also like acting too, is that it really prepares you for the unexpected. it was just so fun to just chat, like kiki with Julia Fox and like Jennifer Coolidge. And
Yes. And how was that?
there was a point where, you know, because you have that like imposter syndrome a little bit for a second.
Sure.
And then I remember I think it was Cynthia Bailey I was speaking to. Cynthia Bailey was one of the first people I spoke to, and she's gorgeous, towering, gorgeous beauty. And I looked at her in the eyes and I said, "Why are you nervous? You belong here. You're having a conversation with this woman you've always wanted to talk to. Like, just have the conversation."
Wait,
I
I'm
thought you
sorry.
said that
I
to
thought you
her.
said that to her.
I looked at her in the eyes.
And I said, "Why are you nervous?" I thought, that's an interesting way to
I
sort of
see, I
just
see, I
kind of
see.
project what you're happening to you.
Right,
and
because
coach
I'm like,
yourself out
I
of it.
was listening to her, but I could see myself going elsewhere with like, because I'm holding the mic and my hand is shaking, but I realized I also had a coffee before. And adrenaline and coffee at the same time really just takes you to a place that makes you feel like you're more nervous than you are.
Should have had some tea.
Or just run on
People
adrenaline.
do it too. Yeah.
Or some
But
mezcal.
I had such a
Or a
good
beta
time.
blocker.
It was, and it's so I mean, well, you guys have walked red carpets, so you know it is kind of like this whole crazy thing. But like when you're just getting,
So just to clarify, we've not walked red carpets. We've served red carpets. We've ate red carpets.
yeah,
And
So
devoured.
objectively,
Yeah, that was really subjective. Objective in the perception of my life, opposite from Juan. I think things go better than they actually do.
it's
And
most important for you to think that you serve because that's ultimately
What?
the most important.
exactly.
true.
You're right. You're right.
But it was so fast. Like I kept getting handed people left and right. And it was what was so wonderful is that it was like people that I love. It was like Zane Phillips and Matt Rogers and, you know, just like people that I love to talk to, period. And then just getting paid to do that was really fun.
Yeah. A dream, like, you know, you're like living a dream moment, like that thing where you're like, I'm getting to be here to do a thing that I grew up watching people I thought were great at their job and thought maybe I could never do, right? Just those moments of like MTV VJing this and a host and that, like they all seemed like such big deals, it seemed like so separate from us. And you're literally doing it. You're getting to do it.
Yeah. And I think it's just a fun way to challenge yourself to come up with interesting questions. And, you know, I was doing it for the Trist, so there were like specific questions that I was asking. But, you know, I threw in my, you know, and I was talking to Julia Fox, I'm like, I love how you keep your foot on the necks of these men, girl. Like, I just love that you're always serving it. What do you think about the men here tonight? You know?
Yeah.
But she's like, now these are the men I like, you know?
Okay.
You know, so the funny thing is that like I'm not
Don't know who
afraid
Julia
of talking
Fox
to
is?
people that I do. That no, very much. I adore everything about Julia Fox. I know. My worry about hosting red carpet is really not knowing what to do with someone who I don't know, but I worry about not acknowledging like the most important thing about them.
Right.
Right? I worry about talking to Tate McRae and not knowing that she's got a flexible back. Do you know what I mean? Like I worry about missing like the thing about that person.
You're that person who sees J-Lo on the street and is like, "Excuse me, you seem really confident. Can you tell us like what makes you so confident? What do you do for work?" Like that would be you. You're like,
I'm
so like,
afraid.
But let me tell you, I remember the first season that I was on Pose when I died. And I was on a red carpet and this girl's like, "So Pose, such an amazing show. What can we expect from your character next season?" And I was like, well, they're dead. So
Flashbacks.
And, you know, yeah, hopefully flashback. But it's like one of those things where it's like one humbling. But also like in that kind of environment, you don't expect for everyone to know. You know?
Can't, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if it were a sit down and we were like doing, you know, sip or spill or something like that, and I'm like,
yeah, you'd be
so
prepped.
yeah.
that's different. But yeah, I could see that. But you know what I did when that happened? I kind of made it about just the fit, the event, the evening.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh, almost like trying to suss out like what am I getting from you?
Yeah,
You know?
because every single person is different. Like, you can have the formula as, you know, you, Johnny Sibley, Barbara Walters, Katie Couric, Wendy Williams, all in one, and yet the fun is, oh, but this person is bringing me some seasoning I wasn't expecting, so I'm actually gonna just like let go of, like, that's what's amazing about having all of these different people walk in front of you. And when Juan was saying like I'd be so scared to maybe not mention the thing that's like pretty, you know, they're a huge asset of theirs, I actually think is more, it's that's also fun and beautiful because we get to learn. One, it would be a funny, happy accident, and if it was a train wreck, it would be a great meme. So, as your mom says, any press is good press. But then also, like, you'd have a real moment of connection about something real in that moment that wasn't pre-planned. Do you know what I mean? That isn't so like on the media nose.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of refreshing when you're not talking about their work. When you're just like, is this too much? This red carpet, I'm like hot. Are you hot?
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Oh my God, I'm dying in this outfit. You know what I mean? Like, it's a real human moment, and they get to talk about something that isn't the same canned, like, so season 4 of Bridgerton. Am I right?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Would you go back
Yeah.
For what?
to Trist?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I want to go.
I've been invited
Okay, yeah.
to come back. And they're also opening a Tryst in Fire Island,
That's right.
as well as
Where?
Because he owns Pavilion. He bought the whole thing. He kind of owns Fire Island, actually.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
there's a
That's
great
right. I forgot
article, I think, in the Wall Street Journal or the
Yes.
New York Times. It's like the man that bought Fire Island.
Yeah, I forgot that he
So-
bought Fire Island. I forgot. Yes, it's gonna be. It's very exciting. I'm glad that there's. Oh.
And this is Trist aside. I think you guys would just like this because it was fucking gorgeous. We had dinner the last night at this place called La Capella, which is
Yes.
Elizabeth Taylor's old mansion. When I tell you, it was gorgeous. We saw it like we were on the balcony that you just imagine her coming out on and having a coffee, and there were fireworks, and it was just gorgeous old glamour. It was glamour.
Yes, and I've heard the food is really good.
Excellent. We had a Caesar salad, and I was like, you know, because sometimes Caesar salads are a hit or miss. It's either really good or it's real bad. And it was delightful. Delightful.
Puerto Vallarta is such a stunning place for so many reasons, and it's because the nature is beautiful. It's beach and mountain, and the fact that you're on the Pacific Ocean, Pacific coast, but also the fact that you're in Mexico, and Mexico is just the best. Mexicans are the best, so in turn,
sweet.
Mexico is the best, and I love how beautiful the architecture is, and yet it's so gay and free. It doesn't feel like you're in Latin America, because Latin America isn't like always the most friendly to be quite
LGBT.
LGBT on that level, but it is there. It is there. So Puerto Vallarta is a magical place. It's such a queer destination, and yet the food is really good.
Really
Because
good.
most queer destinations, the food ain't so good.
Yeah, but the girls usually aren't eating. But we was eating, honey.
Oh.
Well,
We ate.
That is
3,
crazy
5,
to me,
6, 7, 8.
Yeah, like,
I actually think that is such a little bit of a red herring. I actually think the girls do eat a lot.
Girls do
The
eat,
food
yeah.
is not bad. The
Yeah.
food is bad.
It's kind of like one of those like cliche, like, I guess someone's not bottoming tonight. Like, no, the girls are bottoming after Taco Bell. They are.
yeah.
They are.
Yeah, like this. Yeah, this is so interesting. Oh, by the way, I wanted to because it's a funny thing. What my mom says is all publicity is good publicity.
Sorry.
It may not be good for you, but it's still good publicity.
Oh. Yeah.
All publicity is good publicity. It may not be good for you, but it's still good publicity.
And this is where I want to chop Juan's head off sometimes, because sometimes when I'm coming to him as a friend and I just need advice and we're in the thread and it's like this and he can't let go. You can't let go of like producer head on you sometimes, and you're like, books aren't going to write themselves. Got to tell your story, babes. Blah blah blah. And it's just like, in this moment, and it's something I'm learning actually from listening to, I think I was listening to Matt Rogers talk about this, where he was like, I now tell people, I'm like, I just need you to listen when I'm about to vent to you right now. I don't need fixing or like feedback. And I was like, oh, like, yeah, to
And
like
you know,
tell your...
I learned also to tell that friend that says that, well, then find someone else.
Wait, what do you mean?
If someone asks me, I just need you to listen to me so I can vent, and I'm not in the place to just listen and let someone vent, I'm going to say, I'm going to need you to find someone else to do that with because I don't have the bandwidth. But that's the thing, like
fair.
because I've had friends tell me, you know, I'm a fixer. I like to fix. I'm solutions oriented, but that's the way I am with myself. And sometimes you have to remember that not everyone is that way. And so, and that's the thing. I can do the venting. It's just I can't do it more than once.
Yeah, so that's my thing is it's like, okay, if you want my advice, I'm not a licensed anything.
Yeah.
But what I'm about to say is literally, you could have done it on day one after I said this to you. So if you're not going to take my advice,
Right.
I don't want to hear this story again. Like, I'm going to say this to you now.
Right.
And it's worth a lot. And I'm being funny, but it's also like, it makes me feel good to be able to help. And so if you don't take that advice, I'm like, well, now I'm offended. Like, I'm just like, you can't take advantage of me. You know what I mean? And I'm not even getting paid. So like, yeah, but you know, tell your people if you only want them to listen. Tell that person if you don't want to be the one to just listen. You're like, well, no, I want to give you the advice because you need it, but we can wait. You know, like, just feel free to say all the things.
Ask for what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's very important to get it. I mean, when I give advice, I'm typically not giving you the advice of what's actually best for you. I'm giving it what's best for you. I'm giving you advice for what's best for you with a capital Y. You as the greater, you know, not necessarily the best in this moment, but
Also known as brand. You as the brand. Remember, it's
brand.
always coming from a producer standpoint with Juan. Not always, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why you get different opinions and
Yeah. Oh my God. Wait, guys, speaking of different opinions, I think it's time for all of us to give our different opinions on some spilled milks.
Sure.
I think it's time.
Right?
We
Like-
wanted to do a return to form. It's been too
I
long.
love the way that sounds. Say it again.
A return to form.
Oh, God, the R on the form. That's so nice. God, the articulation. Gulliver Prep.
Yes, exactly. Spring has sprung, and it's time to answer some of your most burning questions. Are we ready for the first one? Are we ready for some spilled milk?
Sí, listos.
Okay.
Vale.
Okay. First one is this was a message on Instagram. This is from @SushiFaboosh, friend of the show. What advice do you have for love girls who keep getting their heart broken?
Is that it?
That's it. What advice do you have for love girls who kept getting their heart broken?
Context
Here's
is
what I'll
helpful
say
here.
first.
I know
Just
context
quick.
is helpful.
Yeah.
But
Yes, but here's what I'll say.
yeah.
This is going to be very generic because this is a kind of a generic question, but what I'm seeing from here is what does someone who loves love do to cope in a world that often hates love? And loving love is a good thing, and don't allow for the trials and tribulations of this life and of trying to find love in whatever form that is to you, if whether it's, you know, finding getting married, or finding a long-term partner, or finding a partner who understands that you want to be in an open relationship, whatever that is to you, the form of love that you're looking for, it's okay that it fails. Just, it's a part of it. It's a part of it. I know it's not fun, but it is a part of it. And don't try to not get too jaded. I have felt myself slipping into that lately, not so much with love, but in other elements of my life. And I'm really resisting it because, you know, you've got to hold on to the little glimmer of hope. And I know that sounds very generic and trite, but I think it's important. You love love. And ultimately...
Can I? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, say something.
I want to say, stop loving love so much. Like give it up a little bit. You know what I mean? Like when people say I'm a love girl, stop. The personality has to be somewhere outside of I'm a love person. I'm a hopeless romantic. You're more than just that. And I think the reason, and this is coming from someone who literally called himself a hopeless romantic his entire 20s, the desperation to be in love and to love at all times will not allow you to fully be in love because you're so worried about the vision that you've set for yourself. You're so worried about the feeling, the grandness of love, that you're not enjoying the simplicity, the quietness, the happenstance that love can bring.
Interesting.
I feel like sometimes it's like, oh, well, you just know I'm a lover, and this world, it's not made for lovers. It is absolutely it is. It absolutely is made for lovers, but love it in all of its forms, not in just its romantic forms. Like I made a TikTok yesterday about when that trend that's going around. It's like, I forget that this is the whole point. And it's like videos of people on the beach, it's videos of, I'm like, and my vision of I forget this is the whole point is just sitting on my couch in silence, knowing that I pay for this apartment. It's paid for. That is love to me because I feel comfort and joy and love, but I feel like sometimes we put a lot of that on outsourcing it. And we create a personality. And look, I love grand gestures of romance and, but I think sometimes if that is not the match for people, then they're like, I'm just heartbroken. I also think that people like that chaos of the up and down sometimes too. They're like, oh, will he, won't he? It's like, I read a book about gambling and how it's called, we talked about it on the podcast before, loss chasing. Where it's not about if you win the prize. It's about the will I, won't I win this prize. And people get wrapped up in that chase of it's the rom-com of it all. It's like, oh, are they going to end up together? God, I hope so. We don't know. So yeah, I would say go outside.
Touch grass.
Go be like Ian and ride a bike. That's love.
Yeah.
Feel the rain on your skin. That's love.
I really do love what you said because and you're right. Like I am someone who every day I look around and I find joy in the in-betweens all the time, and I think that's what helps keep me so delulu and almost like you'd be like, wow, you're just so okay with where you're at. Like you would almost say I'm like not ambitious or like not driven. And it's like I am, but I'm also like I love the seams of my pillow covers, and I love that like I created a space and home here in New York that like now I'm not really attached to, and that feeling is kind of nice. You go, wow, if we did a playback to who I was last year when we were doing this podcast and we were first beginning, I was there, and I can physically feel it in my body still that like I was stressed when I was here. I was nervous. There was a lot of like, am I gonna make it? Am I gonna be okay? Energetically manifesting in my body, and to be where I'm at right now in this same place and having lived the year and feeling so much better, and now all of a sudden saying I'm parting the fucking Red Seas when I walk into a space is growth. You know what I mean? That's mental health. I'm not being, I don't want to say I'm being too cocky about that, and that was funny, but it's just like how nice to know that I'm owning certain aspects of my life and things and feeling, like you said, went on the couch, I pay for this, it feels nice, I'm okay. Walking down the West Side Highway and seeing a couple, oh my God, it was the cutest thing. I was, what's it called? I was going for my run for everyone to see me. And then I saw this really cute, like old couple, and they were just like walking, they do this walk all the time, holding hands. And I was just like, you get to see those things. Like those are those little moments that are like really sweet, or like the duck that I didn't know was there in the bush by the new little spot on 14th Street. And like I was walking and then it was like so still. And I was like, why is that duck so still? And I looked and I was like, it's protecting its chickies. And then all of a sudden I had this moment where I was just like watching the chickies. And I was like, my God, they're right there. And this duck was like, don't fuck with my chickies. And like, I got to see that. You know what I mean? Like that was so nice. Yeah.
I love when
I'm
your
a
voice
simple
goes
gal.
up.
At the end of the day, I'm a simple gal, and like I just a good morning coffee, a nice walk, and all of this to say to Miss Sophie Bush, no, Sushi Bush,
Sushi
Sophia
Bush.
Sushi Bush, Sushi Bush. Kind of piggybacking on what both of you said, it's like in your search for love, if that's something you want, as you, to quote Juan, fail, just know that thing is just, that wasn't the right match for you. And so how exciting to know that you are getting way more specific with every new experience, getting you to the thing that you really, really want. And to remember, like, try not to, because it didn't happen, to close yourself off. I've done this a lot where, like, if it didn't go my way, I turn into a little petulant, like, you know, I don't know, like Faruka Salt energy. And I'm like, yeah. And then all of a sudden I'm going to be this Ian now. And it's like, but don't do that. Keep your heart open, because now you have new information. And if your heart is still open, it will happen, honestly, literally, quite scientifically, like faster, energetically, vibrationally faster. And to love where you're at with yourself and the people around you. And instead of looking so far forward, how about you look sideways and you go, wow, I'm really living the dream right now. I'm living a dream that I'm forgetting is a dream because I'm so worried about that dream that hasn't happened over there. But wow, I dreamed this once and I'm living it. Mm-hmm. And the more you remember that, the more satisfied you feel, the more gratitude you feel, and therefore you literally welcome in and invite more of that into your life, which is already so great.
Yeah. But we say this all very confidently as men, and the issue is just very different for women. Oh. So I think that quest for love is more desperate for women. Yeah, exactly. Is more desperate for women because of the timeline of marriage and children and having your parents alive to be at your wedding and all of that I think is much more present in the feminine experience.
That's a good point.
But again, that is the pressure, because that is a societal pressure, but then there's a pressure that we also invite into our own lives.
Well, sure,
Do you know
it's
what
a
I mean?
societal pressure, but
just because
it is
it
a
exists
pressure.
doesn't mean we have to take it on.
Well, but that's what they want. If it's not what they want, if someone wants the traditional
thing, but if you want something that is not presently in your life that bad, you're not completely devoted to the actual experiencing of it, because you're just waiting for the acquisition of it. Does that make sense? Like like acquiring it is more important than possibly taking a second and realizing where that love actually exists. And I'm not saying look, I get the way that the world works, and like it does suck a lot of times when you feel like you are ready for love, when you feel that your heart is open but I also feel like, because society, especially with women, because society says you're only as good as your wedding dress, you're only as good as how many children you have, how beautiful they are, what schools they go to, like it is, but it is a pressure that is chosen. At the end of the day, we all choose the life that we want.
And to that, I would say, by that reasoning, I kind of I hear what you're saying, that those things can be in place. I don't know that someone is choosing the pressure to, but like by that logic as well, I would also say, because of that, you get to choose how you feel about the thing. Everything happening around,
It's like when we're, being a performer, right? You know that you are good. You know that you show up to work. You know your lines. You're ready for the big break. Mm-hmm. But guess what? You're 5'4", and you're a man, and you're Latino, and you're gay, and so you have all of these things that you're working with. Society has put these like things that, you don't fit this part. You don't. So it's, do I lean into what can I do that is specifically me, or do I keep trying to fit into these boxes that musical theater has put in my way? Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Both can exist. Obviously, you can want the bigger step, but as history has shown us, some of the most successful people are the ones that fully embrace their specificity, you know? And that's why I say, like, show up to the date in a hoodie and a hat, because your specificity is going to be what sells you. It's not going to be if you pick the perfect restaurant, or if you, I mean, it might, you know,
yeah, it might help, but yeah.
That's also perhaps maybe a little Pollyanna, like, you know, I do get, like, you can wake up every day and try and be the best self that you can be, and the world will batter you down, that by the end of the day you're like, I can't do this. I get that. But it's just, I don't know. It's a hard.
No,
it's hard.
It's a great point that, you know, if you put the pussy on a pedestal, 40-year-old virgin, if you put it too high on a pedestal, it's just unreachable. It's just unreachable, and that's a great point. Okay, here's another one. At Cat G said to us, this is one just for us. It's kind of more fun. What's one text from an ex that still lives rent-free in your mind?
Does rent-free meaning like I enjoy it, so
it's
therefore
taking up space and not paying for the space that it's taking
it could
up.
be bad. It doesn't have to be a good rent-free.
That's what I meant. Okay,
it
it was
could
sort
be
of
loitering.
Like, I see. Okay, thank you.
Not even loitering. It could be
because it's giving on red, and you're like on red. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, let's not all pretend like these are easy to follow, and like you can just say it once, and I understand what the fuck you mean. I need on red. O-N space. Yes. Okay, great. We know that one now. I mean, I know that one now. But like this one, do you know what I mean? This one is.
I see.
That felt personal. Did someone correct you for being on red, or?
No. I was just bits. Remember, all I do are bits. I'm just doing
always
bits here. Yeah.
A text from an ex
that still lives rent-free in your mind.
I know. I got one.
Ooh.
I have an ex that I moved to New York City with. We both were aspiring to be. I was aspiring to be an actor. He was aspiring to be a director, playwright, movie producer, all the things. When I booked Queer as Folk, and I was, one of the leads in that show, I remember texting him because it was the 10-year anniversary of when we moved to New York, and I said, "Can you believe it? I made my dream come true." And it's only been 10 years since we sought out to do that. And he responded saying, "That's so amazing. Had you listened to me, I think it could have been done in 5. And it lives rent-free in my head because it is one of those things that when you seek out a sort of success or you have a dream and a goal, there are the people that you think of, I can't wait to show them. I can't wait to show them that they were wrong about me, that I am worth it, that I could get it. And then they show you that even in that, when you do present the thing to them, they can still find a way to invalidate it. Luckily, this means so much more to me than this, but if I only relied on trying to prove people wrong, that would have really taken me out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I see how that can now live rent free. Loiter vibes on that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry that happened.
Her.
That's a good one.
That
was a good one.
Oh.
That really that no one could have written no AI, no nothing, okay? Wow. That is really just because I like doing this, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right?
Got it.
If you would have listened to me, you could have done it in 5. One version.
Right.
And if you listen to me, you could have done it in 5. There's ways. There's sort of ways you could kind of spin that in person via text. I know. I'm just
There's a darkness in it.
There's and also when knowing me knowing the person full well.
Yeah.
It's like, but here's how I'm gonna assert my dominance in this moment. It's like it's not even about that.
It's kind of like when I tell my dad, yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm like, Dad, I got a show. Oh my God, what are you doing in it? And I tell him, he's like, oh my God, amazing. Maybe within that same text, definitely within that same conversation, it's like, maybe the next one will be a principal. You know what I mean? Things like that. Like that level of, and like they say, they mean it from the heart. And his whole thing is like, it's like when I have to correct him and I'm like, Dad, you can't say Oriental anymore. You know, it's like, I know, I think, like, that's not the word you should say in this moment.
Right.
You know, anyway, Juan, what about you?
I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I'll put kind of
Let me see if I can find one.
all of them together. Like it's kind of an idea of text messages that I've received from my ex. My ex Jack has done such a sweet job of always sending nice messages on the days that mattered to us, or things that we did, or we were, oh my God, remember when we were in Puerto Vallarta, or something like that. Just all these sweet messages. It makes me think like this person with whom I shared many years is still thinking about me in a positive light, and that always makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I like that, and I think
so it's positive.
That one's a positive free. I can't. I mean, negative. Which one would be negative?
No one wants
they
to
didn't
listen
happen
for the
over
positive
text.
shit.
I know.
My
My
ex sent me a text the other day, and he said, "Hope you're doing well. I miss your cooking, girl."
Listen, the negative ones. Well, does it have to be a text that was to me, or can it be a text that I read?
Oh, that's pretty good. That's actually kind of juicier.
I think we'll accept all forms here.
Well, then that I have not had like a full out horrendous like text battle, that way with an ex. I think but I read texts from my ex to his then who on the final days.
Oh, how did that? Oh, you
because she's nosy. A woman on the edge.
Those live rent free too. Those live rent free. Yeah, because I was so taken aback when the breakdown of my relationship with my ex happened that I just snooped. I just looked, and to find the level of intimacy and connection that they shared, it was like. It was like reading a chapter of Pride and Prejudice. It was so juicy and fleshed out. I couldn't believe that it was as big as it was. And so that was not even one text. It was a conversation. Oh, yeah. And those live rent free. Those live rent free. It was like finding out that Santa Claus is not real.
Yeah.
It was that level of like, what? I was startled and.
Yeah.
Even more than sad, I was just like, "Woo, wow!" I really thought I was in on my own gag, but I was.
I'm gagging right now.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's probably a juicier one.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, I don't really have like.
That's cool. Love it. Electric.
Ian at a party trying to get out of a conversation.
You guys,
that's cool.
Oh my!
Is it cool?
I'm so happy that there's proof of like these moments because you're like that. Oh, that's cool. Like okay, like moving
I guess that's
on.
Cool. I'm gonna go get a drink.
Well, yeah, I was and moving right along. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just gonna jump in to kind of. I do not have that kind of back and forth crazy text from an ex that lives rent free. But I would say something in the last like 6 months that's happened with my most recent ex, which was like a very cathartic experience, was he did a very grand gesture for me and my family recently. And I reached out to him because we don't really talk. And I was like, I really appreciate like, you saying what you did and whatever, this little moment. But I was, to quote Juan, I was kind of startled and taken aback by it because I didn't really know where I stood with him. And so I like a day later, I was like, I just want to say thank you again. But I just want to also share, like, I was a little shocked by the gesture for these reasons, blah, blah, blah. I didn't really know, like, I just want us to be okay. And, but I've never known that. Like, it's been a little wishy-washy. And he sent me a text that was really hard to read, but it was very honest. And it was essentially kind of like saying something he had never, ever really said to me, either definitely not in our relationship or even close to when we broke up. But it was kind of how he really felt that I had, like, some of the things that were, hard for him that I did, or that I was a part of, that like hurt him, or and all these things. And like I had to, for the first time, it's been 2-3 years, like kind of in that moment, like ask myself, what do I want from this? Because I could feel I wanted to litigate, because a little bit of it I was like, wait, what? Like, you know, you start to want to pick it apart because you're like, but I don't remember. And it's like, let's not do that. At the end of the day, I want us to be okay. And so let whatever I write come from just that place, which was very helpful. It really did just like quiet me down. And I responded, and it was a very healing moment, because I was like, thank you so much for saying everything you said. That was really hard to read. And I remember what I said. I was like, a big fear of mine since we broke up is that some of my actions and the cheating at the beginning of the relationship, I've thought that maybe it has tarnished or like tainted the way you, like the pure way that you, Chris, love. And that walking into future relationships, like, will you be guarded, or will you be distrusting because of a thing that, you know, because of that? And I was like, you were an amazing boyfriend. You know, you like say the things that like I just know, I hope like he felt good hearing, which were all really true. He was so good to me. And I was like, you're so deserving of love. And if I ever made you feel like that is something that you weren't worthy of, it's not true, and I'm sorry. And whoever next is going to be, you know, someone you share your life with, will be lucky to have you. And it was just this moment that like kind of untethered me from feeling like there was gray, like this sort of like gray innuendo, outuendo with us. It was just like, oh, I really did say what I mean out of love for this person who I will always have like cherish and love for. So that moment, I think, will be a moment that lives rent free in my mind. When you take, you know, pen to paper and you write down the thing, it really forces you to have to like articulate. You get to see what it is what you feel and mean, and you put it down for the other person to receive. And the kicker is, it didn't really matter what he said after, because I just was like, whenever you're ready, I would love for us to be in each other's lives. And I know that might not be now, but like whenever you feel ready, like I'll be here. And like, even if I wasn't like 80 to 90% there, but I was like, you could still say it's helpful to do that. It was so like, it was just nice to step into some big boy shoes and just come from a place of love, you know? Anyway, so nice. Yeah, that was
very special, I think, when people are able to acknowledge hurt of other people.
Yes.
You know, it is, I feel like a lot of times we're always fighting for our own lives and fighting to be understood, to be heard, to be seen. But to see someone else, to acknowledge their pain, you know, even like when you said my first reaction was to become, you know, to litigate, to become defensive.
Yeah.
Of course, to fight or flight, but to take that moment to say, I'm just going to validate these feelings. Even if I don't agree with them 100%, that's not my job at this moment. My job is to validate the space for this other person. Because that's the thing, we all see things in different vision.
Yeah.
You know, some of us are CinemaScope, some of us are fisheye lens, you know, so it's really just about being like, I see how you can see it that way, and I apologize.
Yeah.
I feel like so many wars could be ended by just acknowledging the hurt of the other person, state, country, gender, you know?
Yeah.
So good for you.
Thanks.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Good for you. Look at you all
doing
this growth.
wonderful, sweetie.
Putting on your big boy shoes.
I know. Meanwhile, I'm fucking 7 people in 1 week. So,
well,
I don't know. Well, maybe not
and
7,
that
but
is growth.
yeah.
Saying that on the
this
podcast.
episode is sponsored by Sildenafil.
Right.
Damn,
What's sildenafil?
It's the generic Viagra.
Oh, I thought that was. Oh, that's Cialis.
Yeah.
Work. Cut to an ad on the podcast. Sildenafil for when you're really feeling like a girl on the go.
When you're really feeling like a paper bag.
Oh my God.
Katy Perry. Wow. What a woman. What a woman. No woman has taken me on a journey quite like Katy Perry in the last couple of years. Wow. So much in the last month.
Many other women haven't been on this sort of journeys that Miss Perry has been on. She's been to space. Have you been? Have you been?
Have you been? Okay. Mateo from Denver writes, I ghosted a really sweet guy last year because I wasn't ready for anything serious. Now I see he's thriving, hot, and dating someone new, and I kind of want to try again. Do I slide back in or let it go?
Ian?
My questions would be, why do you want to get back in there? Is it just and I ask because coming from someone who, like, if I have a toy and I'm like, I don't like this toy anymore, but then I see my friend playing with my toy that I was like, I'm okay, and they're having so much fun, all of a sudden that toy I want again, and I'm like, I want to play with that. Oh my God, it's a great toy. No, it's a great toy. Like, I'm very impressionable that way. Like, I had a crush on someone last year that I showed to one of my best friends in Miami. And I was kind of like, yeah, he's sweet. He's nice. When I say someone's nice, they're actually really good for me. And then I run away. But he was like, oh, you realize, like, he's, like, perfect. And his seeing of him being perfect and he's so gorgeous and this and blah, 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 which I also thought made me see him like that again, like more again, right? And so, like, what is happening to you, Mr. Mateo, I would say you want it now. Go get it now.
Yeah. I think the only kind of reddish flag, burgundy flag in here is that I see that he's dating someone new. That it's like, is it a conquest?
Right.
Is it just about that, knowing that you're still good enough, hot enough, fast enough, smart enough to get to pry your way back in? But that's the only thing. Let's say that was not there. Okay, he's a sweet guy. You liked him, but you weren't ready at the time. And maybe you're ready now. And you've thought about him, and you've seen how he's grown, and you've learned about some things about him. Maybe you saw that he's got a good career or that he got a new job, and he's more exciting to you now. Go back in there. But don't go back in there. Remember the campsite rule. Leave it better than you found it. Don't be going back in there just to fuck shit up.
Just to pee on it again.
Mateo, you need to get your ass beat. You need a one swift 1-2 punch, girl, because how dare you ghost somebody and then have the gall, the audacity to sit up here and say, should I slide back in after I see that he's with someone else and thriving? You need to ask yourself why you're not thriving the way he is. You need to go to therapy. How dare you? Now that he's with somebody else, should I slide in? No, the fuck you should not. You should let other people be happy and seek that happiness within your own life, because it's clearly not coming out in your own life if you have to go and try and break up something over there just because you knew that he was into you and then you had the audacity to ghost him and now think, oh, you know what? He'll probably still like me. Get help. And I say that with love. I don't even know who you are. We might get along really well, but if you were my friend, I would say you are a walking red flag.
Yeah, you're right. I had overlooked the ghosted part. He ghosted him. I just thought that they
ghosted
stopped
him,
talking.
and then he waited till
him.
someone else was eating at his restaurant, and he said, "Oh, you know what? Let me try the food there again." No, it's closed for business now.
Yeah. Can I ask another tangential question?
Okay. Always.
In this day and age, in the world of the open relationship and the this and the that.
Yeah.
See, I don't think that seeing that he's dating someone else is really is like reason to stop in the way that it used to be, because I don't see that that's a reason to stop to reach out to someone and see if they want to date, because now everyone's in an open relationship. Might as well just ask, and it's them to tell them no. No,
but he said it in the thing. He said, I see that he's with someone new and thriving, and that is what's leading him to it's not because I saw he was on vacation and he looked really cute and I thought maybe I should try it again. That I understand. But bitch, it's only because you see that he's got a new shiny toy and you're like Ian said, wait a second, that was mine first. Well, you weren't playing with it.
Agreed. I totally agree. I agree with you on this point. I'm just saying that in general, I was debating this with my boyfriend. We were debating, like, if someone were to slide into my DMs, right?
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know, be really complimentary, or, like, you know, maybe I wouldn't be like, if someone sends me a dick pic, right? In my sides of my DMs, right? It's not someone I know, whatever. I'm not going to do anything about it because I can't. I'm in a close relationship. But I'm not going to be mean about it either. I'm not going to be like, how dare you?
Yeah.
How fucking dare you see I have a boyfriend?
Yeah, no, of course.
Why would I do that? Because most people are in open relationships. So 9 times out of 10, you send that and they're going to be like, hey, great pic. Like, what's your name?
Great
What's
pic.
your story, Morning Glory? Let's talk more. Or they'll say nothing at all because they don't like your dick pic, right?
Right.
So to me, the idea that when someone is dating someone, that this is not directly related to what Mateo's saying, but it's just a general point because it's been on my mind. Just because someone is dating someone in this day and age, I think does not mean that you shouldn't shoot your shot. Because most basketball courts are playing more than one game at the same time these days.
Right. I understand that is usually what's happening, but it doesn't mean that there's still not societal rules that we've created, some couth, some sort of, here's the thing. Here's what I'll say. Mateo, if you saw that he was with his partner and you maybe want to explore it and like have, beautiful couple, you guys look so great together. Let me know if you guys ever want to go out for a drink or a dinner. If you want to play in the sandbox, sure. But if you want to just steal everything in the sandbox because you want it for yourself, you're unhinged. That's the difference between people respecting whether someone's in an open relationship, closed relationship. But if they're doing it to say, I want this for me, that's something to think about. That's something to examine. But if they're saying, I like what they're doing, I want to like dip in. Because I've had people, even when I started dating Philip, that we were supposed to go on a date and they ghosted. And then when me and Philip were official, they're like, you boys are so cute. Would love to hang out with you. I'm like, okay, we can hang out. I mean, nothing's going to happen besides that, like, besides maybe a 1-2 punch, but like, but it's all in the intent. And I think Mateo's intent stinks.
Yeah, the intent is not good. The intent is not good.
Or maybe she wrote it like she didn't mean that she was gonna steal him away. Maybe she just meant like, I want to try a piece of that appetizer again. Maybe she didn't get to try it last time, and now she's like, oh, someone's enjoying.
And those are going to be my questions. It's like in the context of the ghosting, like, where were you at? Were you stressed? Like, did you get sad? You know what I mean? Like, maybe you weren't ready to be able to give him what he could have gotten. And so now you're seeing, oh, wow, got it.
Sometimes I think we give gay men a little too much. I think what Juan said earlier was kind of hit. It's a lot of people, for men in general, not even just gay men, acquisition is the most important. Because gay men will see someone that they picture as like the bee's knees. He works out where I want him to work out. He has the job I want him to have. And then when they actually sit down and talk to the person, they're like, oh, well, it's not, I got what I wanted and now I'm bored. I think men are very much about, it's hunting and gathering vibes. I don't want to say it's like we're all evil. I just want to say like that is kind of how we're bred to be.
Yeah. It's just it in specifically. I love bread.
So many ways to say that.
There are good people on both sides, to quote Juan.
Oh my God.
But I will say with gays specifically, like there is a habit or behavior pattern that we have not all, but have tended to have, where like we seek out acquisition or conquer and that kind of, like, let me consume you. And then because we can kind of just, we can get it. And you get it quickly and easily. So you go, oh, I can get something else quickly and easily. So you keep trying to go get something quickly and easily. But, that's not all of us.
Yeah, we don't all part the Red Seas when we walk into the room, darling.
Exactly. Some of us
But
just get drowned.
you build to that, you know?
Of course.
Rome wasn't built in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day.
And if you built it, they will come.
See? It's true. It's true.
So to add to this, so let's say Matteo's lover, the one he ghosted, was average, and then he spent 6 months at Equinox doing nothing else but that, and he was just hotter now. Does that make it better? Does that make it worse? Are you allowed to go back to someone you ghosted because now you're attracted to them?
Yes.
Only, exclusively.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it happens all the time. People,
Yes.
Okay, so then Matteo's just... You're perfect,
No,
Matteo. Don't change. We love you. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you, Las Vegas.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah. Oh, that was good. Yeah.
Mateo, I hope
never
we didn't
change.
lose you. Sorry.
Well, this was fun.
It was fun. Thanks for writing in, guys.
We love you all.
Right.
Love you. Bye.
Mwah.
¡Qué rico!